Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Hawk's Eye View. It's bye week. It's bye week for the Iowa Hawkeye football team. It's bye week for Drew Shipley. He's going to take the night off tonight, so you've got just me here for the next 30 minutes or so. But thought I'd come on, give you guys just a little something to talk about here. Wanted to start off talking a little bit about the bye week. Going into the bye week with a loss doesn't feel good. Tough loss. Brendan Sullivan injured. Cade McNamara injured. Marco Linus injured. James Rezar injured. Playing Jackson Stratton. And he came in and considering the situation, I thought played very well. Led Iowa on a touchdown drive that pulled them within 3. Had a chance down 3 with the ball, but couldn't do anything with it to either tie the game or win the game on last Friday against UCLA. Tough loss, Iowa, to a bad UCLA team. It kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. Hopefully, this bye week is all about getting healthy, especially at the quarterback spot. We really got to have some health from our quarterbacks. I mean, even if we're rolling Cade McNamara out there because Brendan Sullivan isn't healthy, that's a much better option than what we had rolling out there on Friday night. So I would prefer to see Brendan Sullivan fully healthy and full go. I hope that's exactly what happens for this football team. And I think at this point, it's mostly just an audition for next year. 5-4. You got 3 games left here. Just a tough way to end the season here against Maryland and Nebraska as well. And then one other game thrown in there. Also, I believe, actually 2 games left. So looking at 6-4 with 2 games left here at Maryland, Nebraska at home to finish out the year. I think you got to hope that you can get to 8-4. That's obviously the best outcome here. But it's tough. I mean, Iowa's been a different team on the road. They had that road win against Minnesota that gave us a lot of hope for what this team could be. And since then, it's been kind of up and down. And obviously the low point of the season at UCLA, but the Kirk Ferentz November record takes a little bit of a blemish here. His record in November games since 2019, I believe, is something like 17-2 now. UCLA being one of the 2 losses, and the other one being in Nebraska after we lost Cooper DeJean early in the game. But yeah, you got to find a way to rebound. Hopefully, they can get back to their identity of running the football, Caleb Johnson putting up big numbers. Brendan Sullivan keeping the defense off balance and doing just enough in the passing game. The defensive drop-off, allowing a team that's one of the worst in all of college football to run all over you, that is a tough look. I know that Jay Higgins was injured and went down early in that game, but even still, that is a tough way to go into the bye week. And so just a lot of things for the Iowa Hawkeyes to correct here on the football field going into the bye week. And I have a little bit of faith that the Kirk Ferentz team will come out prepared out of a bye week. It's a road game. It's a tough game next Saturday at Maryland. But I have a feeling they will come out prepared as well. So looking forward to that. I wanted to talk a little bit about basketball season since we are in the thick of it when it comes to Iowa basketball, both men's and women's. Our women's team starting off hot, our men's team starting off hot, both of them undefeated on the young year. Impressive win against Toledo last night for the Iowa women. They put up a lot of points. More impressively, probably the win against Virginia Tech on Sunday, a team that went to the NCAA tournament. Now, they did turn over their entire coaching staff, turned over their roster quite a bit, so it's not the same Virginia Tech team by any stretch of the imagination. Still a decent team, a decent win for Iowa women's basketball, and I have really loved watching this team through their first couple of games here. Lucy Olson has been as good as advertised. She is just absolutely everything out there from the point guard spot. I love what she brings to the table. She can shoot it. She can get to the rim. She does a little bit of the in-between mid-range stuff, but she's just so under control. I think that's one of the things. Maybe she doesn't have the dynamic passing or shooting ability of a Caitlin Clark, and that's okay. She's just a very solid point guard who knows when to score, knows when to get her teammates involved, just making the right decisions and playing under control. And I think that is precisely what this year's version of Iowa women's basketball needs. I've been very, very impressed with her. The other player that I've been impressed with was Addison O'Grady, going 9 for 9 in that Virginia Tech game and looking to score, being aggressive, but really running the floor, running up and down. And it's clear that she has worked on her game. And I have to commend her because I didn't really see that coming from her when the year started. So through a couple games here, she is doing very, very well. Trying to look up some stats for you kind of as I speak. 3-0, 85.3 points per game, and Addie O'Grady averaging a little over 13 points per game on the young year and shooting very, very well. Shooting 85% from the field. Now, I don't think that that's a very sustainable rate, but if she's up there around 60% even on the year, that is something that you will take every time. That would be phenomenal for her to really dominate in the paint and become any sort of an offensive threat that other teams have to consider next to Hannah Stuelke there. Hannah Stuelke, we know what we're going to get from her. She's even shown us a little bit beyond what she's shown us in previous years as well. And looking forward to see how her game, especially offensively, kind of evolves over the course of this year. I think as Big Ten play kind of kicks in, things are going to really heat up for her. Big game coming up this Sunday for the women. They get to go play the Drake Bulldogs, who are absolutely no slouch. They have that thing rocking there at Drake. So that will be quite the test for this Iowa women's team on the road at the Knapp Center. Looking forward to that one. Drake, one of the Missouri Valley Conference favorites, as they should be. Anna Miller, who's been there for a few years now, 6'3", averaging 21 and 12. Courtney Becker, 15 and 7. Katie Denbier, the all-everything kind of point guard there. Ava Hawthorne and Grace Knutson off the bench. Deep team, formidable team. Iowa, deep and formidable team as well, obviously just outside the top 25. But win that game on the road against Drake, and you are probably squarely in the top 25. But it's not going to be easy. O'Grady, Stolke, Ava Hayden, those three are going to be very big. Tegan Maligne, even to a certain extent, going to be big in stopping Anna Miller inside. Anna Miller is also a shot blocking threat. So that is something that Iowa is going to have to attack. They're going to have to see, when you're playing a shot blocker, you kind of have to, you can't be afraid of them. You have to go at them. You have to really attack them, try to get them in foul trouble if it's possible. Some players are just really good at staying out of foul trouble. But I'm looking forward to that matchup, kind of the Iowa bigs versus Anna Miller and Courtney Becker, both 6 feet and over. And then, yeah, we've got a matchup between Katie Denbier and Lucy Olson that I think is going to be good on the perimeter as well. So maybe Taylor McCabe is that X factor. She kind of went nuclear in that Toledo game early on, scoring 11 points in a flurry and really getting Iowa off to the races. So I love what she's brought as far as shooting goes. Taylor Stremlow, she just hustles. She's all over the place on offense. Tegan Maligne, I see the McKenna Warnock comparisons there. I think they're valid. I think they're warranted. A lot to like with this freshman group for the Iowa women, and that is going to be very exciting kind of over this season to watch unfold. So love how the start of the Jan Johnson era is getting off, and looking forward to a win against Drake. I think both Drew and myself predicted a win at Drake in the preseason, but I don't think it's going to be any sort of a pushover type of game. I think this game could be very well played within 10 points and wouldn't be extremely shocked if it is. So I'm going to take Iowa 85, Drake 75. I think it's going to be a close, hotly contested basketball game on Sunday afternoon there as well. So looking forward to that one in the Knapp. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and keep it a little bit shorter tonight, but take a break right now, hear from some of our sponsors, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit of men's basketball and a few other random subjects that are Iowa Hawkeye related here on the podcast. So going to hear from our sponsors, and then I will be back.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman, Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546. In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
All right. Thanks as always to our sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of you. Specifically, Kyle Lehman, thank you again for sponsoring the event last Thursday at the Front Row. Thank you again to Ross Peterson for coming out. It was a great event. If you weren't there, you missed out. We had a lot of good times at the Front Row. Looking forward to maybe doing something like that again in the future. Great response from people. So we are definitely going to line something like that up in the future and would love for you all to be there. So look forward to that again. But again, basketball season, men's basketball season, a little bit lower expectations, maybe a little bit of apathy setting in for the fan base. I'm not one of those people who has apathy. I was very excited about this team entering the season. I'm still excited, probably more excited than I have been at any point before the season right now. I really liked watching that game the other night against South Dakota on Tuesday. That was a fun up and down game. South Dakota loves to run up and down. Iowa does too. They shoot way more three-pointers than they did last year. And man, Josh Dix made scoring 23 points look seamless, easy. One of his better games as an Iowa Hawkeye for sure. Very impressed with what he's shown as a scorer, a leader, just an overall guard. I think he's gone up a level from last year. Really impressive. Owen Freeman didn't play in the game. Wadji Dembele started at center and I thought did a commendable job. A little bit concerned as a team with the rebounding still. Getting out rebounded by the South Dakota team it's not great, although they do have two quality big men, I think. Cameron Fens, who is from Dubuque, Hempstead, actually the Iowa connection there, going to South Dakota to play Division I basketball, is a very solid center for the Summit League level. I think South Dakota is going to be one of the favorites, one of the contenders in the Summit League by the end of the year. So I am, I'm not overly concerned by that development, maybe as much as I should be. First game for Seydou Traore in that South Dakota game, and he was just all over the place. I thought he helped out defensively. He was good on the boards. And then what I didn't realize about him before the year that I maybe kind of learned is that he can handle the ball in traffic. We can trust him driving to the hoop. We can trust him making decisions as a passer. He had a nice little drop-off pass to Riley Mulvey that led to a dunk. He was out there making plays for himself and others. I really liked what I saw from Seydou Traore. I think that's going to be huge for Iowa if they have multiple guys that can break down a defense off the dribble, and he's one of them. Drew Thelwell, I think, kind of like what I talked about with Lucy Olson. He is just very under control. He has some explosiveness to his game. The drive and dunk against South Dakota, the drive and Euro step layup in traffic against South Dakota in transition was a nice play there. 12 points, 6 assists, 1 turnover. For your backup point guard to be where he is, that is an absolute godsend for this Iowa team. I think you would take the statistics that he's putting up through 3 games every day. Love what Drew Thelwell is doing with this team here. I think he's averaging 11 points, 3 assists, and a couple rebounds, shooting 57% from the field, 33% from 3, getting to the free throw line, only hitting 71% from the free throw line, but 22.3 player efficiency rating, which is definitely above average and above where he's been over his career. I like what he's bringing to this team right now, and I think that's going to be solid off of the bench there. Brock Harding, it's been a little bit of an up and down adventure for him through 3 games. I'm not sure how much longer will he be in the starter at point guard, I guess is kind of my question. I think the way that Thelwell's playing, you can make a strong case that he should be the starter. I know that it was a competition going into the season. I don't know if it's ongoing competition throughout the season. Fran McCaffrey has shown that he's willing to switch up the lineup and change things up when things aren't working. So I definitely expect that to be a thing to watch for this Iowa men's team going forward. Peyton Sandfort shooting the ball well through 3 games here, 43% from 3. Josh Dix at 44%. Price Sandfort, though, really leading the team in 3-point shooting. I know the raw numbers say that Brock Hardin shooting 60% from 3, but Price Sandfort shooting 7 threes per game and just under 48% on threes. Now that's gonna come down as the season wears on and the competition heats up. But I really like what I've seen from Price Sandfort. He's shooting that ball with a lot of confidence now, and I hope that really keeps up because that is going to be a strong development for this Iowa men's team off the bench. If Price Sandfort is a reliable 3-point shooter, that gives you just so many different lineup combinations that you can do. You can roll Price out there at the 3, at the 2 if you want to. But I think getting a lineup out there that involves both Sandfort brothers and Josh Dix with Owen Freeman and whoever you want at point guard between Thelwell and Harding can really round things out as well. Cooper Koch, really loving what he's brought to this team off the bench. I think he brings a certain athleticism and some shooting as well. I think he's going to play a key role in this season. So I think right now this team is strongly 9 deep. I don't think there's anyone beyond that is going to contribute valuable minutes in a meaningful game. And I don't think the rotation should go much deeper than 9. So that's really where this team is at. They have a big game coming up on Friday night, a neutral court game in Moline against the Washington State Cougars, who did go to the NCAA tournament last year, but a lot of turnover on their roster and a new coach as well. They are also undefeated at 3-0, and they are averaging 93 points per game. So they like to get up and down and score a lot as well. That is going to be a strong test for Iowa. I think it's on a neutral court, but definitely going to be a pro Hawkeye crowd there in Moline, Illinois, which is home of Brock Harding and Owen Freeman as well. The 3 wins for Washington State, Portland State, Bradley, who's one of the Missouri Valley favorites. That was an impressive win to me, beating Bradley, if there is such a thing in these non-conference games that aren't against power conference opponents. Bradley is a decent team, so a 17-point victory over Bradley is not anything to really shake a stick at. It's a good win. So I think this is going to be an interesting test for this Iowa men's team on Friday night. David Riley is their coach. They're from the West Coast Conference now, with the Pac-12 dissolving a little bit. Washington State had to move to the West Coast Conference in basketball. David Riley was the Eastern Washington basketball coach. He is 65-38 in his career. Regular season champions the past 2 years in the Big Sky Conference at Eastern Washington. So a decent coach coming from a low major to a high major program here. Your leading players for the Washington State Cougars are Nate Calmes, 6'2" guard. He's their leading scorer, averaging 17 per game. Cedric Coward, 15 points per game. Dane Erkstrup, 14 points per game. A lot of balanced scoring here. A lot of guys over 12 points per game. There's, I think, 7 guys. Yeah, 7 guys, if I'm reading this right here, that average 12 or more per game. And then it really drops off after that. So a 7-man rotation for this Washington State Cougars team involves a couple of 6'10" forwards and a 6'9" forward, 6'6". So I think getting Owen Freeman back for this game is going to be critical. Going to need some good minutes out of Dembele against a bigger team than what Iowa's played, probably a more physical team than what Iowa has played up until this point. So they're going to need solid nights out of Owen Freeman and Ladji Dembele in order to pull this off, and good, steady play from the point guard position combined between Brock Harding and Drew Thelwell. I'm curious to see how the shooting will translate onto a neutral court. Going to need Sanford, Dix, and Price Sanford to do their thing, but I'm confident that they can. I think would love to see what this team looks like with everybody healthy and playing to their fullest capability. We haven't gotten to see that because Seydou Traore just played his first game this past Tuesday against South Dakota, but it was good to get him out there, to get him a little bit of confidence going into this Washington State game. So this isn't just his first game in an Iowa uniform, his first game back as well. So I want to see him next to Freeman, next to Dembele, whoever it is, and kind of how that looks with him playing that 4 spot. I think that's going to be what this Iowa lineup is going to look like. A lot, kind of like what we talked about in our preseason with Iowa Hoops Dave, who's closing the game right now. I think it's Thelwell. I think it's Josh Dix. I think it's Peyton Sanford. I think it's Seydou Traore, and I think it's Owen Freeman. If everybody that I just named is healthy, I think that's really your closing 5. I don't know if that's your starting 5, but that's really who's going to close this game if it's a close game late. And I fully anticipate that this will be a game that's played within 10 points, kind of like what we talked about with the women. This is not going to be a game that either team really runs away with, and I'm looking forward to it. So Moline pro Hawkeye crowd, homecoming for Brock Harding and Owen Freeman. So you know that those 2 guys are going to be rather amped up to play. I think Iowa's going to win this by 7. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout on a neutral court here. So I'm going to take 92-85. Iowa win. Non-conference overs for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They are always going over against non-conference opponents. Not all the time against power conference opponents, but definitely against the low major opponents. They are going over in the total points combined between the two games. Not all the time, but man, it's got to be something like 85% of the time in the Fran McCaffrey era. And I think this team, this version of Iowa, more than most, wants to get up and down, shoot a lot of threes, way more than last year's team. And from what I can tell about Washington State, they will play into that. They average 93 points per game. They want to get up and down, shoot plenty of threes, get to the free throw line, just like what Iowa wants to do. So you're looking at teams that might play similar styles while they aren't complete mirror images of each other because of the personnel is just a little bit different for each one of them. So there's a lot to look forward to this weekend, even with football taking a break. You've got the men's game on Friday night, tomorrow night in Moline. You've got the women's game on Sunday afternoon. And then we get right back into a football and basketball staying cranked up. It's going to be a good couple of months here with football and basketball overlapping. Drew and I will be back next week to preview the Maryland game and talk a little bit of basketball recap as well. So thank you all. Appreciate you for listening. As always, it's always a great night to talk Iowa athletics with all of you. And again, appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the show, listening to the show. Have a great night as always, and go Hawks.